Hello, and welcome back to the UFred10 podcast series. If you missed last week's episode, my name is Sarah Chesson, and I am the manager of the Marketing and Communications Department here at the University of Fredericton. So today on the podcast, we have the Standout Moment School of Business professor, Dr. Blake Escudier. So Blake refers to himself as a professional academic. Over the past 25 years, he's been an employee, contractor, partner, business owner, and is currently the principal owner and director of Business Owner Counseling Services for Entrepreneurialists. In addition to his business ventures, Dr. Escudier is an experienced educator teaching at universities across the U.S. and Canada, including Heritage College, Washington State University, San Jose State University, Kaplan University, and at the University of Fredericton, where he teaches several courses in our EMBA and our MBA programs. So Blake's current research involves business owner behavior within dynamic environments and leading effective virtual teams. He's also in the process of writing 2 books titled I Learned to be an Entrepreneur Watching Gilligan's Island and Guide to Experiential Student Learning. So welcome to the podcast, Blake, and thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you very much. Glad to be here, Sarah. 25.
Would you mind starting by telling us a little bit about yourself?
You just did. No, I have a very diverse background, but I really like to tell people that about 25 years ago, I hit a nerve in myself about teaching and helping others, and I started teaching on the side. I was a nuclear engineer in the Navy. I owned a sports marketing agency. I got really involved in not-for-profits on boards and things like this. And I ran a winery for a few years. But when I started teaching, I felt like, hey, I can really help people here. I'll never be a doctor as far as a medical doctor, but I can be a doctor when it comes to teaching others. So I started teaching marketing classes because I had a background in marketing. I worked for Quincy Jones Broadcasting for a while. I've worked in sports agency. I've worked in different areas. I was the chief operating officer of a winery that did all the marketing around the country. So I had a lot of background in marketing, and I love the concepts of marketing, specifically consumer behavior. And so I started teaching and said, this is great. This is wonderful. Finally, I got an opportunity to get the PhD and transition from work environment. At the time, I was the director of the small business development for all of Northern California. It was a $5 million grant I got from the SBA to run the program. I decided, no, I really would like to teach. So I ended up getting the PhD, completed it while I was living in Australia, and started teaching back to the United States online. This is when I started teaching in both the U.S. and Canada. Of course, it's really nice in Australia because of the time zone. The classes are only at 10, 11 o'clock in the morning rather than 8, 9 o'clock at night. I enjoyed teaching so much that I said, this is my vocation, this is my life. I stayed teaching. Now I teach full-time. I love teaching at the University of Fredericton because of the student body, the MBA, Executive MBA program. And, of course, I teach in the U.S. at an online university as well.
That's fantastic. It sounds like you have a really varied background. So you kind of touched on this already, but what motivated you specifically to start teaching with the University of Fredericton?
Oh, well, that was interesting. I've been here about 7 years now, almost as long as the school's been around. I started teaching at another university in Canada, and it wasn't doing so well, and got in touch with, and a lot of the students were transferring over to University of Fredericton, so I got in touch with Ken Green, who's now our provost, and said, hey, Ken, do you need someone to teach all these students that are coming over to you? I teach marketing. And he brought me in. And, of course, it's been a wonderful marriage since then. I've developed into becoming, pretty much the only marketing faculty at Fredericton. And as soon as I got on board, I realized there's a little bit of difference here at Fredericton. And it's kind of got my hooks into me, and I've stayed ever since.
That's great. So what would you say is your favorite part about teaching here at UFred?
The quality of the students. They get it. They understand. I would say, you got to say about 90%, because there's always some students that have other priorities in life that get in the way. But I would say that every student here they choose to be here as a student, and therefore they want to learn. They have the drive and curiosity, which is really what makes a graduate student. And it's enjoyable for me because you don't have to pull the students in. You don't really have to try as hard to engage them because they are engaged, they are motivated. And for me, that just, well, it makes my life easier, but it also makes teaching much more enjoyable so that I can start learning from them as much as I can share knowledge with them.
Absolutely. So in terms of UFred's actual delivery, so the online method, do you find that it lends to your teaching?
Well, you know, a lot of people are mistaken, and we're still in a transition period globally when it comes to online teaching. And a lot of people say, no, we've had it for a long time. I said, well, true, yes, no. A lot of online schools started with instructors, not the PhD with the vocation towards college education. Excuse me. And we're starting to transition now to where you have the PhDs, the faculty who are now teaching in the online environment. Online environments are harder than teaching in a classroom. I taught in front of a classroom for 20 plus years, and you know, it's a little bit different in the sense that we are almost 24/7 availability. The asynchronous is just as important as the synchronous, and the students have the opportunity all during the week to be able to communicate with the faculty. When I was faculty with a ground-based school, hardly did anybody ever come to my office or talk to me. We didn't really use the online environment as far as emails and everything else because it just wasn't how you engaged with students. It was the classroom only. And the online environment and is great for time management. It's great for students to be able to learn more if they so desire, which is where I say that UFred students are really good. So that online environment really does lend itself to the opportunity for more learning if the students want to do more. But it means the faculty has to respond. Our services as faculty have to be there available for them. We can't just send them a note and say, oh, that's good, and move on. We really do have to feed them, give them feedback, and give them the reviews so that we can keep their curiosity and drive going.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point. So, Blake, if you had to pick a standout moment from your teaching at UFred so far, what do you think it would be?
A standout every day. I swear, I really do love it. But no, I think one of the best parts is I've submitted some of the projects done by some of the students into contests, the business plan project type of thing, and they've placed, they've actually won, and to hear those students realize that they did good, not just me saying they did good, not just the peers saying, oh, that was a great presentation or a great report. It was somebody outside of the university. It was an organization that said, yes, you did good, and that is a great, to hear the students respond to that was really wonderful, and it's really enjoyable to be able to show them that they really do have quality work, and I think that's probably what it was. Yeah, that's probably the best part.
Yeah, I believe that. That's great. So with the kind of spirit of the campaign that we're doing right now, talking about our 10-year anniversary and everything, we're also kind of looking forward. So how do you see education and teaching at UFred evolving over the coming years?
Well, it's been interesting. When I started 7 years ago, the classes were smaller, obviously, and it was almost like a boutique. And now we've gotten into the point where continuity is there. The classes are flowing. They're always full. The students are coming in. I mean, UFred is growing, and it's fantastic to see this. It's getting the reputation as a quality university. It is getting the reputation as the university, which is 24/7 available online because there's no other 100% online schools in Canada. But yet we can reach out more. We have the opportunity to be more global. Our faculty is global. We are getting global students. It's difficult because of time zones in the seminars, but we are getting the growth globally. I think what you're going to end up seeing is this is really going to be the university for that person who is in that mid-career and is ready to move up, but needs to fill a few holes in their knowledge, needs to get that extra step, needs that piece of paper. And I think what you'll see is we're going to have these mid-level to upper-level people coming to you, Fred, and saying, I need that boost, I need that help to get to the next level. And we're going to reach into all sorts of industries, which is really nice to see all these peers working together to learn about business. As far as where we're going to go, well, it can be hard. We're going to grow. We're going to have more faculty. We might end up having faculty taking more responsibility within the university as far as the growth goes. We're going to probably become a little bit more bureaucratic, which rankles me a little bit, but it's just par for the course when you have an entity that is growing such as UFred going. It's got a great product. It's got great knowledge assets to put towards providing the product. And now it's really a matter of just reaching out to the community and saying, hey, we're here. We're ready for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Blake, we're obviously very proud to be celebrating our 10-year milestone here at UFred. So something I wanted to ask is, what makes you proud to be a faculty member here at UFred? And you've touched on some of this already, but is there anything in particular that comes to mind?
Well, I am proud that well, it's a selfish thing, okay? UFred offers the academic freedom. We're able to design the courses based on our knowledge and experience within teaching, and I have a teaching philosophy that is geared towards teaching the adult learner, and that's what we have in the executive MBA and the MBA program. So for me, the pride is the fact that I am able to provide for the students, and the response has been welcomed, and therefore I guess you could say I get the cardboard cookie, I get the pat on the back. And for me, that's that self-satisfaction that I am doing my vocation, and I feel like I'm doing it fairly well.
That's awesome. That's fantastic. So just to wrap things up here then, is there anything else that you wanted to tell us about your UFred experience?
It's really interesting. We haven't had the opportunity to develop further with the alumni, but it's interesting that I do get a lot of students coming back to me after they've finished their program, after they've had my classes and all. They come back and they ask questions. They talk about their career. And I believe this networking we have with the diverse industries, with the groups of people that we do have, the alumni are going to find out more and more the value of having gone to UFred. And I think that's something that is starting to get around to the students, and you start seeing it a little bit more. And I have a feeling it's gonna add so much more value to the understanding of what a UFred degree is.
That's fantastic. Well, thanks so much, Blake, for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Sarah. This has been enjoyable, and I will talk about University of Fredericton any day. Thank you.
Great. Thanks.